For the past year and a half, I've been restoring my dream muscle car, a 1972 Chevy Nova. This car will be off the road for nearly 5 decades, being parked back in 1977. But despite the fact it was stored in a barn for the majority of its lifespan, hidden water penetrations rust would soon turn this simple restoration into a monumental project. I could have never expected all the challenges and problems it would run into. Now, after putting over 800 hours into this project and overcoming monumental challenges, it's time to stop, take stock, look back, and really look at what the future of this car is. But on top of doing that, we're going to be doing something really cool. We're going to be answering the #1 most asked question I've had on this car, and that question is this an SS? We got it right here in this envelope. We're going to be opening up and we're going to find out together. My name is Trooper Max, and I'm restoring a car that's been off the road since 1977. But I've never done this before. I've taken the time to do my research, and I'm building the car of my dreams, hoping to inspire others to do the same. A lot of people have been asking whether this is an SS or not. So there was certainly a lot of indication that this is an SS when we were taking it apart, based on the fact that it has bucket seats, a center console, larger fuel line, disc brakes, and a bunch of other things. So we're gonna be able to find out, because I got this. This is a package, I haven't opened it yet. Here in Ontario, I was actually able to send in a request to the Vintage Vehicle Services in Ospho. And they have all the records of these cars that were built, basically. So we're gonna be able to find that out, so this is really cool. But we're gonna do that at the end of the video. We're finally gonna find out that answer. But even before we do that, something happened to the car while it was sitting here for the past 4 months, and I thought it's really interesting, so I thought I'd show you. So we'll do that right now. I'll get this off. All right, so this is what it looks like after sitting here for the past 4 months. So at this point in the restoration, the car is in a stage of multiple phases of the restoration. First of all, you have the original paint, which isn't really the original paint. This thing was painted in the early 70s, and really poorly for that matter. It's got some new sheet metal, which still has the paint on it. I haven't touched that. We also have epoxy primer here on the inside, and then we got some bare metal around. The original paint is pretty much still in the same condition. Might have a little bit more rust, but not something I could see visually. And the replacement body panels, the aftermarket stuff, it still has the EDP coating, which is electro deposit primer. This is what comes out of the factory. That hasn't changed at all. It's exactly the same. If you look inside, you will notice that any area we primed has not rusted. So there's epoxy primer here, it's all been covered up, and there is not one speck of rust anywhere. So that's really exciting. It seems to have worked like a charm. But now check this out. This is our 10-bolt rear end that we pulled out in November, and we restored it, and check it out. It's all rusty again. The bare metal has gone completely rusty. All the rust has came back, and unfortunately we just wasted a lot of time. I just didn't have time to treat it, and it kind of stayed this way. And now I've got a mess on my hands. But this isn't the interesting part. What the interesting part is actually the firewall, if you check that out. Would you look at that? That doesn't look very rusty, does it? Actually, there's almost no rust on it at all. So what makes this part different in the rear end was the fact that we actually used Ospho on here. We used phosphoric acid. My whole idea on this project was that I knew I couldn't do this project the speed a lot of pros do it. It's gonna take a long time. We're about 1.5 years in. And because I was hand sanding everything and doing everything myself, I knew that I wouldn't be able to get to everything. So doing things in stages, and before priming everything, I was using Ospho. So what I did was we put it on, and I didn't want to paint this part because there's still some work I want to do here. And that's why we left it this way. But check it out, even with just the Ospho, 4 months, it stayed completely good. There's almost no rust on it at all. I'm really pleased with it. And what's even more interesting about this is a garage that's covered, but it's very wet. So prior to coming in here, 2 days ago, it was absolutely flooded. There was so much water here. We've had a record amount of snow. It's been extremely cold, so the weather has been terrible. It's very cold today, right now actually. At this moment, it's absolutely freezing outside. And inside, it's only a little bit warmer. So I'm using a little space heater just to keep it warm, but honestly, I'm just above freezing. So it's not ideal conditions. And that's why the bare metal rusted like it did. But it just goes to show you that even the Ospho just works really well. Now doing epoxy is really messy, so I didn't want to do it 5-6 different times, which is why I thought if I just sand things, get it in the Ospho, move on to the next stage and just keep going over and over, I can eventually get the whole car in Ospho and then just hit it all in one day. So when I painted this, I painted the top and the bottom all in one day. It was just an efficient and much cleaner way of doing it than taking out the gun and shooting every little part. So it worked out pretty well. So with the project progressing as it has, I thought I'd take the time to stop, do an update, and make an announcement at the same time. And I thought, what better place to do it than this room right here? Because it was only 2 short years ago, I stood in this exact room, making a plan, trying to find our car, and make this project happen. So I think it's only fitting to be here to announce the fact that I'd say we're about 50% of the way through the project right now. We're at the halfway mark, and you know what? Standing around here just really brings back memories. Just to think this whole journey, I really never imagined it would get as big as it has. Even just looking back to when we were looking for the car, my first son was just a little kid, you know? He wasn't even 2 years old when we started this journey. And heck, my second son wasn't even born till halfway through the search. Oh man, it just makes me think back, and it's just pretty cool to think that this journey has made the cars just so much more special than it originally was. You know, when I think back to when we got the car in the first place, you know, I went there with my wife and my kids. We were able to retrieve the car after searching for it for 13 months. And that was just such a special moment, you know. At the time, the car was just, you know, neglected, sitting for 47 years. And to finally bring it home after such a big search and then, you know, give it new purpose. It was just really cool to push it in that garage and say, hey, this is our Nova. You know, and since then, a year and a half has gone by and we've done a lot of work on it. And I never would have imagined all the work we would have done, you know, looking back now. The idea was just to do some quarter panels and a floor patch and paint it. I didn't expect to have to rip half the car apart based on the condition it was. It's just at the time, I just didn't know, you know. It just goes to show you, an average person that doesn't know will get into this kind of, you know, trouble and have this much work. So I think anybody thinking of doing their own car has to realize that doing a journey like this, you got to expect the unexpected. And you got to plan for the worst and hope for the best. And at the same time, it's just so much time to do all this stuff. So, you know, when I've done so many interviews with people, I think back to people telling me, you know, it took them 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, even 12 years to do projects. I didn't really get it at the time. I understand now. If you're just working evenings and weekends, it's a lot of work. It could take a lot more time than you expect. So I think that's why you see so many half-finished projects on the internet. You know, people just didn't make their dreams come true. But that said, we are going to get this car finished. We are going to make our dreams come true. And the way we're going to keep doing that is by hard work, dedication, and just never giving up. And the one thing that has kept me going more than anything other than my family is all you guys at home. You know, it can be really tough sometimes. You're just thinking, you know, what the hell have I got myself into? Not having ever done something like this before, not having that experience or knowledge, and just learning as you go, doing as much research as possible, it can be really tough and it could really bring you down. And those comments of hearing people doing their own stories, making their own dreams come true, or just egging us on, that's what keeps us going. So for me, that's always been the biggest thing. So that will definitely be my thank you to everybody, is just getting this car done. We're gonna get this damn car done. It's gonna be on the road. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it because of you guys. But speaking of you guys, it's time to talk about you. What I wanted to do is I wanted you to take the time to kind of introduce yourself, say how you found us, when you joined in on the journey. Do you have your own car? What are you restoring? And what's your plan? I wanna know about you guys, you know? We are all doing these journeys together. We're just regular, you know, Joes and Janes doing our jobs, trying to get this stuff done and being creative and just working hard. I know there's a lot of people doing that, and I want to hear your story as well, because stories like that make me want to keep going as well. So take the time to do that. Put a comment below, give the video a like, and even subscribe if you want to keep getting notifications on our journey, because we're going to keep going. But now let's get back to the car. Let's talk about the plan. Because since beginning this, has the plan changed? Well, you better believe it. It's definitely changed just because there were certain elements that we didn't think of. I really wanted to save as much factory stuff as I could, make it look pretty much the way it was. And after taking this thing apart, I just learned that that's not really possible. Most of the stuff is just so far gone. There's really not much that can be saved. We are still keeping the parts that somebody else might use somewhere else. However, we are really gonna go with everything brand new. So you're gonna see a lot of different things. We ran into so many problems, especially with things like suspension, that you're gonna see a lot of changes. So it wasn't originally planned to do all this new stuff, but that's what we're doing. At the same time, we're over 800 hours into this project. It's been so much work, a year and a half of hard work, and then all the searching before. I just think it makes sense to give this car what it deserves, you know what I mean? To make this car really special, make it unique. We're gonna make it unique. We already defined the fact that we're gonna make it look like a 70s throwback car. We've defined that previously. So it's gonna look a little old school, but it's gonna have modern technology, all modern technology. We're gonna make this thing run like a brand new car. But we're also gonna try to make it as unique as possible, give it a different flair, and really make it stand out at the same time. But that said, I'm not gonna hide the fact that this is gonna change the budget significantly. It's definitely gonna impact it. It's gonna cost a lot more, but I think it's worth waiting, taking the time to save money and put the parts in that make sense just based on all the effort. I don't wanna do this again. I do not wanna change parts down the line. So that's my main reason for that. It will take longer than I wanted. I would love to be on the road sooner, but that's just not realistic. At the same time, it's been a year and a half. My hope, my prayer is that we can get it done, not this year, but the end of next year. That's kind of the hope. Can we actually get it done in time? I'm not sure. It all depends on budget and how quickly we get everything done, but we're gonna keep going. We're not gonna stop. And I think at this point, the most important thing that everyone's been asking, with everything you've seen here in the car and over time, is this car an SS? I think we gotta answer that question. I got the answer upstairs. Let's go check it out. All right, so with that done, we have one more thing we gotta do. The thing everyone's been the most excited for. We gotta check out if this thing is an SS. And my wife Jess is gonna come and help us out with that. Okay, come on in. Okay, so we got this in the mail yesterday, which is awesome. And I haven't opened it. I have no idea what's in it. Do the honors. Okay.
Is this thick?
Wow, what is this? Okay. Let's look together. Okay. Let's see what we got.
Oh yeah, that's the back part.
That's the back. Oh, cool.
Here we go. We got some of the
Okay, yeah, I guess there's some other stuff that comes in it. We'll take a look at that in a second. But first, this is it. All right, so we got our information. So 72 Nova tan vinyl interior bucket, custom interior. Interesting. It's a midnight bronze color. Okay, so this was made in Willow Run, Michigan in May of '72. That's pretty cool. Okay, so it's a V8. It had a 350 in it, which is what we thought it had.
We got a V8 two-door pillar coupe.
Okay, yeah, we know that.
What's a pillar coupe?
Don't worry about it. It's a two-door. That's the important thing. A lot more desirable than a four-door. Obviously, we already knew that, right? But anyways, here, what are the other options we have here?
We've got some radio AM push button.
Push?
Push button.
Oh my god, okay. Brakes, okay, so this...
Windshield antenna. Where is that?
That's not even an important item. Okay, I'm gonna go through it then. Okay.
Those are the ones that stick out to me. Sorry.
Okay, steering wheel, four spoke sport. Okay, tires, gauges, coolant, blah, 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 all that stuff. AM, radio, antenna, like you said. Bumper guards, front and back. Additional fuel delivery for customer. No SS. So this is not a Super Sport.
Return it.
Oh, well.
Sorry. All this work was done for nothing.
No, that's okay, because the thing is I originally wanted to make a Super Sport clone, so I was gonna have the SS in the front. Now that this is not an SS, I'm happy that we can make this completely custom. So I'm actually gonna make something different on the front. I'm not putting an SS on it. I'm gonna make it look different, kind of, you know, dare to be different, right? And I'm actually happy because if this was an SS, it'd be more worth it to try to find the original engine, all that stuff, and bring it back to have it numbers matching because it'd be worth more. But that's not what this is about. This is about saving a rust bucket, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool.
Let's take a look at what else here. Okay, they gave us an information guide on the Rally, Nova, the SS, all this kind of stuff. Oh, that's pretty cool. It comes with all the pictures and stuff.
So when you bought the car, this is the pamphlet that it would come with?
Yeah, I guess, they would have this at the dealership. They would show you all the options and everything. So this is what they would have in '72. All the numbers and everything, all the colors it comes with. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
So this is what the salespeople would look at basically and tell you all your options and everything you could pick. That's cool. Even here you could see the rear ends they had, so you can get a 342 gear, a 308, or a 273. We have a 308, which is not very desirable. Basically, it's kind of a highway gear, so that's why the rear end is not worth as much as we hoped. But that's pretty cool. Awesome.
Nice.
That was cool.